Same drill. Oh, look at you. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Fabulous Flix. My name is Ged, and this is another edition of a walk around Guelph. I believe that this is going to be segment 9. Haven't quite published Abby's yet. And for a good reason, because we spent half the conversation making fun of the handsome devil. To my right, your left, Rob Osborn. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, Ged, I'm great.
That's the most canned answer ever. Hello, I'm wonderful. It is great to see you. You are looking rather well here today.
I'm looking for Ray Finkel and a clean pair of shorts. Good. I just like smacked an espresso, so I'm just like ready to go.
Yeah, you are in fuego, as the kids would say. I'm not really sure if people say that anymore, but I did see it on television. So first things first, you and I have haircuts.
Yes.
So before we get into anything today, we came out of official lockdown last Tuesday.
Yeah.
What are 2 or 3 things that you have made sure that you've gone and done? Other than, obviously the haircut. Yeah.
Well, I work in the media industry, and we actually didn't get locked down per se. We were still able to do our stuff, our production, with COVID protocols and a maximum of 10 people on set, crew and cast and stuff like that. So really it was the haircut. That was the big one.
But what about outside of work? Like, is there something you went out and did for you that you haven't been able to because of lockdown?
Not yet. It's only been maybe just under a week, I guess. I almost shoveled the driveway, but then I paid my brother-in-law to do it. So
there's a very fine line between efficiency and laziness. I feel like you are skating on that line.
Yeah. I don't know. We don't have any kids, so and things have been busy. So I've gone and picked up meals. I don't believe in the whole skip the dishes thing. I want to support the local restaurants by picking it up myself. So I've been trying to do that. Gained a few pounds because I've been doing that a little too much, but spring is coming.
Yeah. Instead of winter is coming, spring is coming. So confession, I went out and I got a manicure.
Did you?
Yeah. My wife and I booked manicures as soon as we could at Lemongrass in Rockwood. Like, we're in the east end of Guelph, so it's about 10 minutes from our place. And I am as a gentleman, I am comfortable enough telling you that I looked forward to that a lot. That was like one of the first things I wanted to get done, was get the haircut and get my hands done.
I'm more of a foot guy. I do the petty.
Fair. Yeah. I love a good petty. Good petty.
You know, the Puma scrub gets the dead skin off the heels, and they get all in there. That way you look in the flip-flops, right?
It is almost summer, which means if the beach body isn't going to happen because of COVID, I want someone to look at my feet and go, man, that guy takes care of himself.
Nice.
Other than the rest of it, that guy's got good toes. So, a couple things. Obviously, I really want to thank you for taking some time today. You mentioned that you didn't have to shut down, and not that I want to overshare, because obviously I don't want to breach anyone's privacy or anything, but you've been really busy. You and I have had a chance to chat a little bit throughout the pandemic on a bunch of stuff, some of it ranging from Guelph This and That to a bunch of other things, which we may or may not touch on. But you've been really busy through all this. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah. So I run a media company in town, DNR Media Group, and we do a lot of visual content. So that would be everything from commercials to kind of brand films and any sort of visual content, stuff like this. Even I do some medical stuff with some doctors and that, which we've been doing over Zoom. So I think with everything, it's just been a case of, you can't do things like you were, so you have to pivot and maneuver and figure out a way to still get things done in a different way or an updated way in our current context. So for some of that's been doing some virtual shoots. For other things, unfortunately, there's been a lot of businesses that are struggling and have even closed. But for those that are still fighting the good fight, they have to advertise, they have to market. So we've been trying to help some of our clients produce everything from video content to even just still ads. I'm also the admin on Guelph This and That, and so we run some ads to kind of help support local businesses, and so yeah, we just producing content every day.
Awesome. And it's, I'm really glad you segued into Guelph This and That. So obviously social media is no stranger to groups. And for the most part, until the world shut down, groups were 5.5 to 6 out of 10 decently well behaved. You took over Guelph This and That. It was not your original kind of social child. And it was a pretty, like, it kind of reminded me of the second Back to the Future movie. You know, when they go back to 1986 or 1985, and like it's like Biff Tannen's world, and he owns the cops, and there's like random fires on the street, and like the
Is that what
entire
you
place.
think I've done?
No, and I feel bad because as I'm saying this, there's somebody who originally started it maybe watching this going like, oh man. But I don't mean that as like a bad insult. It just, when you decided you were going to take it over, like it was a very toxic environment, if I can be as blunt as to say that. I mean, I'd been on it briefly and I had left, and you and I have talked about that. It was kind of out of control. What made you decide to take it on, and what was really the purpose behind it?
So I was a part of Guelph This and That, although I wasn't very active on it. So I found out, I guess like everyone else did, that it was being closed down through a Guelph Today article. And so I just kind of looked into it. I ran a couple of much smaller Facebook groups for my friends, just, lighthearted comedy stuff and whatnot. But yeah, it was kind of luck and timing and opportunity all at the same time, where I ended up having a discussion with the former admin, and she was just kind of done with it, as far as it was becoming a bit much, and I don't know too much about what was going on before, but I do know that to say it was all toxic, I think is likely a stretch. I think there were just some things that were maybe hard to manage when you're volunteering to admin and moderate a page that's got 15,000 people on it. You're going to get people from all walks of life. Someone's having a bad day, they're going to vent. They're not all trolls.
No, that's anyway. Fair. And maybe I may have overspoke. Obviously, my experience with it was in a fairly limited capacity.
To be fair, the Guelph Today article did say that the site was being shut down due to abuse. So anyway, my team and I took over. Abby, who's been on your show, is also a moderator with us. It's funny. We took over the first day we took over Guelph This and That was the same day that the COVID lockdown happened on St. Patrick's Day of 2020. So I actually have no context of running this page outside of COVID. But what we tried to do was, as I took a couple months to kind of really learn the page and the people that were on the page, what we really tried to do was have an experience for our users that was more of like a neighborhood group. Our community. We branded the site Guelph's Online Neighborhood. We got even a logo made, and we run some photo contests and stuff that people can be the cover photo each month, and we put the logo on it. We kind of branded it that way. But really, I mean, the true spirit of the page is, people, hey, I'm looking for a plumber. Hey, look at these cute dogs I took a photo of while I was walking. Our city's beautiful, or someone helped me with this. Thank you so much. It's a place where people can share. We're really trying to keep it positive lately. I've kind of wanted it to be an oasis from COVID, if that makes sense.
100%.
We typically don't allow rants. There's other Guelph Facebook pages for that. And
that's okay. I mean, everybody has their thing, right? 100%.
Yeah. I think what we just want to do is keep things as positive as possible at this time. Things may open up to other other contexts when we're out of this pandemic. There's not a lot of events going on, so there's not a lot of people talking about events, whereas in normal times you are. So yeah, it's been kind of a balancing act, but we also started to take on some sponsors to help
Notice that. Yeah.
And build a community of sponsors. And what we do with that is we try to encourage supporting local businesses. We also we take some of that what we make kind of on that, and we put that into a show that we help produce called Royal City Stories. So that's kind of a give back there, where we're able to put some funding in to make to highlight some people around Guelph kind of doing cool things, and the production value is a little bit more than just someone on their phone. So that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, no, and I mean, Royal City Stories, like you said, I watched the one that was released about a week or so ago, and it was Dan and the Habitat for Humanity project, and yeah, I mean, this is obviously a whole lot different than this. And by the way, it is a little bit intimidating to host a segment with someone who literally does this for a living. It was like the first time I ever did this with Denang. I'm like, I should be asking you what I should be doing. Yeah. But no, and I think, and if you don't mind me asking, how many hours a day or a week would you say that you are on Guelph This and That, kind of moderating, making sure that people are existing within the guidelines, things like that? Like you've obviously had some pretty dramatic experiences on there, some for the good and some for the bad. And we don't necessarily have to touch on that, obviously, because these are people's lives that we're talking about. But how long on a weekly basis, how many hours would you say you put into that a week?
I think at the beginning, like last year when things were in lockdown, like it was basically all I was doing. Once summer hit and autumn, and we, kind of the business got back up and running and stuff. I mean, we have a great moderator team. We couldn't do it without the other individuals that help us.
How many are there?
There's 3 others, including myself. And so we really like our team. It's a good fit. We work as a unit. Lately, I kind of take care of more of what I'll call the business end of things and the promotion and that kind of stuff. I'm not policing or perusing posts as much, but the moderators do that. But we do have a group chat where several times a day we'll say, well, someone's posted this. It's kind of controversial. What do you think? Or, the other kind of neat thing is that there's a part of this that people don't see. We've had people reach out to us for some pretty specific issues that they're having. I think, wanting to or thinking they should post it on the page publicly, which is not a good idea. But we've been able to help them privately through something. We were able to prevent someone from committing suicide last month. That no one would have ever known. That went kind of through us to kind of help that community member. There's been a couple other cases of things almost that serious that we've been able to assist with, that I didn't know that was part of the job, when I signed up to do this. But we're out there. We're out there as kind of a community in Guelph, and so we, at the end of the day, we just want to help. We want to have a positive experience and have people have a positive experience, kind of connecting with their neighbors.
And I think if there's a takeaway for anybody watching this, that it's a couple things. Number one, the hours that go in to moderate these pages is greater than most people would ever understand. And I think that the second big takeaway that people should remember is these people are not only giving their time, but they are real people. I mean, like you said, you've been in a couple of pretty momentarily strenuous situations that you had no idea you were ever going to have to cross that bridge, but you've had the ability to positively impact someone's life who you may or may never have met or will never meet. And I think it's so important for people that are on these pages to realize that it does take a bunch of time, and not only does it take a bunch of time, but it's by humans who really are here to help, who are trying to create a safe and positive oasis and experience in a time where sometimes what you see online isn't necessarily that the case. So,
Yeah.
I mean, for anybody who is on that site, I have come back to that page. And humbly speaking, it is because of you, and you and I have talked about doing some fun stuff kind of coming up in 2021. And, I'm humbly excited to be a part of it. So that's awesome. So
Yeah.
I want to move on. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I get people every day private messaging me going, I don't know how you do this, moderate this page, and like, more power to you. I can do this for a day.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that encouragement.
It takes a breed.
Again, and again, we just have a really great team. I think that's really important. If we didn't get along or there was conflict within the moderators, the wheels would fall off this pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. Absolutely. Okay, so on to media stuff. So you and I have known each other off and on for a few years now.
Yep.
But before the second lockdown, we were able to meet up and have coffee, which was awesome because it's been a very strange year. We met downtown at your home away from home, which is Red Brick, which always awesome when I get a chance to go there. And I didn't know this, and I was humbly embarrassed that I didn't know this. Is it you worked on the Survivor show?
Yes.
And you knew I was going to bring that up, so I won't dwell on it too long. I don't need intimate details of where you went to the bathroom.
Hey, you got to tease that in the post so people have to watch this far to see it.
That's it. But so just give me like a 2-minute high level of that. Like, what was that like? How old were you? Was it ridiculous?
Well, I've got to be a little bit careful because I'm still under contract with confidentiality until I
for sure. Yeah.
After the last episode airs. But what I will say is that it was in 2002, very early into the shows. I think it was series 4 or 5. It was in Thailand.
How old were you?
I was 24.
Oh, okay.
So I was a camera assistant, so I helped carry on batteries and tape. They were a 3-person team: camera operator, audio operator, and Sherpa, which was me, who just carried stuff for them. Sure. It was 40 degrees at midnight. It was so hot and humid, and like it was the one season I think of all of them, because we were so remote and there was no hotel. We were actually camping too, where we almost had it as bad as the Survivors, almost. The season before me, they were in a hotel. The season after me, they were in like a huge cruise ship, the crew. But us, we were in tents. I was in a tent, with a little cot. I survived Survivor. It's crazy, and I've got a bunch of stories I can tell you privately, of some, hijinks.
And how long were you there?
6 weeks. 6 weeks in the jungle. June, July.
Where? Can you tell me where you were?
In Thailand.
Thailand. Okay.
On a kind of a remote island. So I will tell you this: they do everything they can to preserve a real experience for the contestants, for the castaways. Mm-hmm. People say, do they make them? Do they tell them to do stuff, or they don't need to do that because it's all casting. You get 16 Type A people, and then you put a lunatic on either team, and you just let it go, right? It solves itself, right? It's always a social experiment. It's great, I still watch the show. I love the show. It's been really neat, but I learned a lot on that little excursion. It was between my first and second year of broadcasting in college, and I think I learned more on that trip. And how I even got on there is a whole other story to itself. It was a little bit of luck, a little bit of timing. I had my shots.
What's your favorite memory? What's your favorite memory of the whole thing? Could be anything at all.
The funny thing that happened was we were in a canoe that had a trolling motor, and the castaways, they had a rowboat. Now we were on the ocean, and there was a little island opposite our beach. So between that island and the beach, the ocean was relatively calm. But once you got around the other side of that island, the swells got pretty high if it was windy. And so these 2 contestants went into the rowboat to go around, I guess, to head out. So we have to follow them because we're filming them. And they went around this island. And so this trolling motor had like no battery in it. and so the swells start coming over the canoe. So we sank the canoe. We just hopped up on this coral. The audio mixer bag went into the ocean. The camera we were able to keep above. But what happened was I had a radio, and so I was radioing base camp, and we were okay. We were able to get the canoe. It just sunk right as we were coming to this kind of coral cliff. But I got on the walkie-talkie and I was like, Mayday, Mayday, Crew 7, we've ditched our canoe. We're in the ocean. And I hear back, are you serious? Really? Because it wasn't like I was going like, Mayday, Mayday, we've ditched in the ocean. I was like Ace Ventura, Mayday. It was just kind of like, I wasn't panicked because I was alive. But I guess they said that Mark Burnett and Jeff Probst were having lunch, and they heard this come over the walkie-talkies. So that's kind of funny.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And you've been doing B&R Media. How long has that been up and going?
B&R has been going on for 5 years. Okay. I've been working in production for 21 years now. But I decided to start my own company with my wife and partner Natalia, who's from Iceland. And so we wanted to do something that where we could kind of set up in Guelph, where I'm from, and kind of service the community and the greater community. I mean, we have clients all over the place, but something that I think before 5 years ago, I had one Guelph client, and I had to go out of town a lot to do stuff. But now we have lots of Guelph clients, and we love doing stuff for our local businesses and community.
So because you spend your day and literally half of your life you've spent in production, is it like when you go out to dinner with someone who's worked in like the serving industry? Have you ever gone for dinner with someone who's been like a career server, and they like critique and pick apart the experience at the restaurant? Do you do that when you watch movies, when you watch TV? Like, do you ever sit down with your wife and watch it? You're like, oh, I can see what they did there.
1000% all the time.
Oh, you'd be such a pain in the ass to watch anything with.
No, because I don't have to verbalize it. I mean, I think it's different when it's my wife and I watching something, because we can kind of discuss like, oh, that's how they pulled off that effect, cool, or whatever. Or hey, that continuity error, and other people wouldn't pick up on that. But for me, what's really neat is if I'm watching a movie or a show and I actually forget about production because it's that good. If I kind of am watching something and I go, oh, I forgot that's in a studio, or they did that, because I'm so drawn in by the story, I kind of think that they've done a really good job to do that. But no, I have lots of friends in production, and it's all the same for us. We'll watch a movie or something, and then we'll say, hey, this is how they pulled off that part, and oh, cool, and I'm going to try that next time I do this. And a guy that works with us, he also works on Netflix productions that shoot in Hamilton and Toronto. So when he's not lighting our sets and stuff like that, he's working on things like Star Trek and what's that one with all the women wearing red and Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaid's Tale, yeah.
Handmaid's Tale and stuff like that. So he always comes to set with us, having learned something on a massive Hollywood production, huge budget, and he just always brings his A game to our smaller scale stuff and makes it look great. I just feel very blessed to have these types of connections.
That's awesome. So before we get off production, I do want to very quickly touch on Royal City Stories, because I feel like I wouldn't be doing myself or anybody that's going to be watching this justice without touching on it. So the first Royal City Stories, and I'm probably a little late to the party on this one, the first one I watched was the Christmas one, and then I saw the Habitat for Humanity. So where was the idea born from? Are there a specific cast of people you always use? And what is the goal of it? Because it is like, there's some serious production value there.
Thank you. So it's kind of twofold, I guess. When I started B&R, I did notice that there wasn't really anything being produced locally at a certain production level
Yep.
that told stories or news or events or anything in Guelph. There's Rogers Community Television, which does their thing in a studio up in the Willow West area. But that's kind of a newsy format, or a studio news kind of format. And I just thought, I have the skills, I have the equipment and the know-how to do that, but we were starting a business and it's its own business model to do something like that. So
For sure.
I kind of had an idea that we could do something, but I just kind of shelved it. And then I guess almost 2 years ago, Dan Gibson, who's a city councilor in Guelph, approached me kind of saying, hey, would there be an opportunity to do kind of like, I think what he originally wanted to do was something like a studio version of what you and I are doing, where it was kind of a sit down and chat with someone. Not political per se, Dan's a counselor, but more so just
zero politics.
more so getting out of that and just kind of highlighting some people in the community.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So then I did something that I tend to do, is I get a little too ambitious. And so anyway, long story short, we were able to get some sponsors before we had ever even filmed a frame. I think we filmed a little trailer, which was basically Dan walking around downtown slow motion to some nice music. and because of that, we were able to get a little bit of sponsorship for a first season, which we did in 2019, and the first little bit of 2020 that finished. We did 8 episodes. We highlighted a whole bunch of different people in the city doing different things. We highlighted a guy that kayaks in the Speed River and collects garbage. We highlighted a couple of local businesses, the Crafty Ramen, and the success story of Royal Distributing that started out in a barn, 30 years ago, and now is Canada's largest outdoor sports, all that ATVing and stuff. They provide all those things.
Yep.
And then we highlighted some of the police services, which we actually won an award for that episode, which was great. I didn't expect that. And we did a Christmas episode a year and a half ago as well, with the Royal City Ambassadors, the old singers there, the barbershop choir. So it's just kind of all sorts of different groups or people in Guelph doing what did we say? It's everyday people doing extraordinary things in our city. So,
and is that findable? I'm assuming this is located on, like, I watch it through social media, but I'm assuming that's located on like a YouTube playlist somewhere under you.
Yep, royalcitystories.ca. We've got those episodes.
I'm going to try and shove a link up here. So at this point, if you want to exit mine and yours conversation, who's ever watching this, and check these out, I fully recommend that you do. I mean, these things are absolutely brilliant.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, they're they're not easy to do, but we seem to pull them off, and people seem to really like them, and we've enjoyed them. So we're hoping that once COVID's over, we can kind of do a true second season, because really we've kind of just done a season 1.1. Did a Christmas episode, and the Habitat.
So good.
Thanks. The Habitat for Humanity episode that just aired last week was actually shot a year ago. It was COVID that shut that down, so we kind of had to wait to finish it. So yeah, we're just, I think we'll be able to squeeze out a couple more episodes by the end of the year with COVID, and then hopefully next year we'll get into doing another 8 to 10 and just kind of build on that momentum. Is
there a segment or an idea or a thought you have for a specific segment of one coming up that you're really excited about? Like, is there somebody or some company or some business that you've targeted in your mind? Like, I'm getting them and it's going to be awesome.
To be honest, I don't think yet, because we have kind of had a bit of a shutdown. We are doing one more episode that's kind of water conservation based. I think we're going to look at Trout Unlimited. Hopefully they kind of restock the river and do some of those things with the trout, and how that kind of connects with the water treatment plant. We're going to get out, I think, we're hoping to get there was a kid in the news a year or two ago that he skipped school to go fishing. We're hoping to get him going fishing with Dan.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Something like, awesome. That kind of a feel good thing to kind of put that all together.
All right.
So a little bit of environment, a little bit of journey. So that's what we've learned is we don't just want to have conversations with people. We want to do something. I call those the journey episodes where,
Yeah.
With Dan last week, he was helping to hammer nails into the habitat build while they were talking about habitat. So it's a little bit easier to stay engaged in something if you're watching somebody do something or make something or travel around.
Could not agree more.
Yeah, you should probably walk around the room right now just to keep me engaged.
I'm just gonna go straight to Gimbal and just walk around my house.
Yeah.
All right, so perfect. So you're moderating Guelph This and That. You're running BNR, putting together, Royal City Stories. You got a pretty full client book right now. So at the end of the night, when you sit down with your lovely wife, or unless you guys have like separate TVs, so you can each watch what you want, what are 3 things you're watching right now?
So I don't know how I missed the boat, but I completely missed Modern Family for like 11 or 12 years. Like I just
really
like I didn't have cable, I had Netflix and other stuff, but I just I knew there was a show called Modern Family, but I didn't know anything about it. So when it went on Netflix, all of it, I think back in the late fall, we just started watching it. I mean, there's 11 seasons there. I think we're on season 9 right now. So I just every day I watch an episode or 2 to get a laugh. It's just amazing. It's like so Seinfeld 2.0. I mean, what Seinfeld was to us in the late 90s, mid 90s. That's what Modern Family is now. So
could not agree more.
That's something that I'm watching. I love kind of the Vikings Last Kingdom.
Vikings.
Yeah.
So good.
Just finished that last half of the season that just kind of came out a couple months ago. I'm always good for historical epic kind of stuff. And the thing that I really like is those kind of British UK thriller / detective things. So like a Broadchurch, that type of thing, Shetland, anything where there's a what do you call it? A moody drama, a moody police drama or detective drama. There's always some cop who's divorced and he's got a daughter and he's got
a drinking problem, or he likes to gamble.
Or in Sweden they had it was Wallander, same thing. Yeah. I really enjoy those moody UK series.
You said you're into historical epic stuff. Did you ever watch the 2 seasons of Marco Polo that were out?
No, I haven't. That's I think that's in my queue.
I was devastated when they did not renew that for another season.
That's always the risk.
It is so good. I'm launching a series of like bingeable shows by genre. Yeah. I just launched like my top 3 superhero ones to binge through. And the caveat is they can't be in active production. So nothing that is continuing to make new stuff can make the list. But I'm going to do one on like historical epic stuff. Marco Polo is without a doubt my number 1 in that. Kingdom was fantastic. Marco Polo will blow your mind. It's so good. So good.
If you ask me what kind of my favorite show that I watched in 2020, that was maybe a surprise, was the Magnificent Miss Mabel or Maze or whatever that.
I have not seen it yet.
It's like Mad Men meets Seinfeld. You've got like this, 50s, 60s era done perfectly, and then you've got this, this girl that wants to be a stand-up comedian and kind of defies all her family, what they want her to be because they're kind of upper class New York and whatever. And she just wants to be a stand-up comedian and she kind of accidentally falls into it. It's just the best. I just we blew through 3 seasons of that and I just can't wait for season 4. It was
I've heard so many good things about it.
And you got like Tony Shalhoub, who's Monk, and Antonio from Taxi. What the fuck? And you've got Kevin Pollak as so Tony Shalhoub is her father and Kevin Pollak's her father-in-law. It's just awesome.
That is awesome. Okay, so just to recap, Modern Family.
Yeah.
What was the second one?
Vikings Lost Kingdom.
Vikings Lost Kingdom, and then anything moody British detective.
Yeah.
Is there one specifically you're watching right now, or just in general, you just search for them?
We just literally finished that new one that's out, Behind Her Eyes. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
The twist on that one was well done.
Yeah.
Did you watch that?
It was. I am just starting it.
Okay.
I am just starting it. So do not tell me anything else about it.
All right.
Awesome. All right. And, the question I always ask most people, all right, actually the question I've asked everyone is for those of us that don't know you other than what it is you do in Guelph This and That and kind of what we see you do from a work perspective. If you told me to watch something that would help me better understand you, what would you tell me to watch?
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I am not surprised.
I love Larry David. I'm sarcastic. I just that to me that's one of them. That's a perfect show.
Awesome. Well, I hope you'll stick around for a couple minutes after I hit stop here, because obviously I'd love to chat for a few more before we completely say goodbye. But again, I just want to thank you for taking some time today. The work you've done with Guelph This and That. I mean, you and your team, because I know it's not just you, do an unbelievable job of not only helping to promote some great small business in Guelph to a beautifully captive 15,000 people. You keep it positive as much as humanly possible. And we need that right now. The stuff you do with Dan and Royal City Stories is absolutely brilliant. I wish you all the luck in continuing to gather sponsors and stuff for that, because that is a good place to put your money right now in terms of reinvesting into that community. And man, I wish you all the best in 2021, and hopefully we'll be able to link up for a couple of projects.
Yeah, I see what you did there.
Yeah. All right, man. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, Ken.
All right. Cheers.